Hello, everyone. So we will start with a small introduction for each other. I am Namita Sharma. I work for Mums World as a director for customer operations. And I especially work for getting technology into the process so that I can make the life of customers more easier and bring more efficiency in the work. And I have with me Tejaswi, Wasim, and Florian. I let them introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Tejaswi Chawla. As she rightly said, commonly I go by Tej. I am the co-founder of a company called Quoality. We are trying to create a new category in hospitality called guest experience. It's similar to customer experience in technology, but more focused at guest and specific for hospitality. I'm a technology enthusiast. I have close to 23 years of experience. Always been ahead of trends, so worked with a lot of companies. I like to follow the trends. So yeah, that's me. I'll leave it to Wasim.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Wasim Alhalabi. I am CTO and CEO of APPTECH SYSTEMS. This is the professional company. It's based in Turkey, and we have another office in US. We are specialized in enterprise software solutions, end-to-end, B2C and B2B portal. We are also have made since 2017, since established more than 40 projects around the world. We are targeting the customers for semi-government, government, and the enterprise level. Thank you. I'm giving the mic to Florian. Thank you.
So, hi. Yeah. Hi again. As it's my second panel discussion today, and I really don't want to interrupt that much time, I'm Florian. The ones who not know me, I'm an entrepreneur in regards to IT services, IT in general, services in general, and hopefully I can contribute my part.
Definitely.
Also in this panel discussion.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. So my first question goes to you, Tej. Have you ever used virtual assistants, and how do you feel about it? Have they made your life convenient?
I've used actually a ton of them. So I think virtual assistants do what most assistants do, right? Make your life easier or make you do more with less. When you have less time, they help you to schedule meetings or reschedule meetings, book your airplane tickets. So some of the common, I think they're very common today, but I started using them years ago, was Google and Alexa that I use, in fact, even now regularly. I use them to schedule meetings. Of course, everybody uses them to play music, listen to podcasts, stay abreast of what's happening. I've used them to ask questions like, hey, is there an earthquake now when I'm feeling dizzy? Is there the earthquake or was it my BP plummeting? But I think virtual assistants have also helped me, especially in my case, to do something that I couldn't ever do. Tell my parents that they don't understand them. So my parents are a frequent user of Alexa and Google. And I constantly hear the voice coming from their room. I do not understand. What did you say? So I think it also talks back to them, which I couldn't do. Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
Yes. Very true, Miss. Even I am using Alexa at home to remind my mother about the medicines. So it's a very simple thing, but there is a voice in it which says that this is a time for your medicine, and then she starts and she enjoys it. She is feeling excited about it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think they think it's funny beyond the point when it replies back and says it doesn't understand that, oh, it's dumb, we are intelligent.
Yes.
But yeah, so in a similar way.
That's nice. Thank you, Tej. So my next question is to you, Wasim. Just wanted to understand what are the type of these virtual assistants that we keep on talking about, if you can shed some light on that.
Okay. Thank you, Namita. Actually, I would like just to start with a little bit introduction about virtual assistant technically. Virtual assistant actually is the program, maybe it's made or powered by AI, which is assisting user to interact their actions or their requests to be and responding to them as an actions. So for this, such actions can be creating calendars, as they said, booking, placing the calls, creating reminders, also the directions, getting a directions to some places. All of this assistant can be helping us on daily basis. There is several types of virtual assistant in the world. Some of them, it's a virtual or personal virtual assistant, which is designed actually to personalized user who is using the phone by voice command or smartphone to getting their assist, creating, as we said, a booking or calendar. Some of them, everyone is using, like Apple Siri and Bixby in Samsung, and also there is Amazon Alexa and so on. There is a lot other part of our type with this virtual assistants called enterprise virtual assistant. It's made and designed for organizations and also the enterprise level, which is assisting the users or the organization to arrange their daily task, or maybe automating their workflow, or maybe make their daily task more easier in the process inside the organizations. Some of this virtual assistant example is Cortana from Microsoft. There is a lot other types also for virtual assistant, which is chatbot also. It's mainly used for the e-commerce, for digital support, for customer services, which is this part of or type of virtual assistant can be mainly response as natural language to the customers. It will be helping to reply to frequently asked questions, to maybe also to issuing or replying to some troubleshooting to them. This is also some type of virtual assistant. There is also maybe some other type for domain, we can say experience virtual assistant, which is sometimes curated for particular type of organizations in terms of finance or healthcare or other part, which is helping them to automate or is make their tasks are mainly easy every day.
Yeah, that's very interesting to know. But I also am a little curious to understand that what are the use cases, if Tej, you can help me with that, to understand that what are the exact use cases where you can actually use these assistants in your daily life?
So I think there are a lot of use cases that I could think of that I've personally used them in the past for. So I think assistance also is a lazy person's work. So home automation, switch on lights, switch on lights. Oh, and there have been cases where I had to, rush to the office and I forgot to switch off an air conditioner.
Okay.
So I think it's definitely helpful in situations like those. Mm-hmm. So home automation, so when you talk about personal front, that's a good use. But if you go towards corporate, as Wasim very rightly said, Cortana is very, very useful. For example, if you're using, everybody is on OS, to find mutual calendar slots, which is a big pain when you're scheduling a meeting. So you can basically say, hey, Cortana, can you figure out what is the 4 common slots between us to have a meeting, or between 5 of us? It will actually go and give you a couple of options that, hey, these are the options. So you can use it at enterprise level as well. But if you talk specifically about different verticals or businesses, I have seen the use cases of it in healthcare.
Okay.
To schedule appointments, to schedule your health tests, etc. It will give you reminders. It is actually also helpful for healthcare takers for quick discharges of the patient, just assimilating the history of the patients and then giving a quick discharge, or settling insurance claims. Another use case which I have experienced, I think it's very, very useful for BFSI. Okay. So a couple of use cases is loan origination systems. It can actually, up to a limit, it can just go ahead and approve loans. And if the amount is bigger, of course, there's a human intervention required. But And it has also assisted the field force productivity. So one of the companies that I was working for, we had created an AI-enabled mobility field force productivity software. It's like a mobile light CRM. So what it did is, for everybody who was on field, it would just tell them, hey, you're in this location. These are 5 contacts or 5 customers of yours. You haven't met them in 3 days. Would you like to meet any of them? So if you're in a particular area, it's just helping you to be more productive, or reminding you, hey, these are a couple of other contacts who are in this area, would you like to call them? Or would you like to schedule a meeting or meet them? Is how to productively use your time based on various factors, which could be location. A very interesting use case that I've heard, it can also be used in governments. So I think government of Estonia, if I'm not wrong, is launching something called Bureaucrat, with B-U-R-K-R-A-T-T, if I'm not wrong. And what it basically does, it helps people to, various government-related tasks, from getting a license, for example, or getting a permit, versus having to go to multiple sites. You can just go ahead and just put it there, and different sectors would collaborate on Bureaucrat itself to make it easy.
Okay.
And it can also remind them, for example, your house tax is due, or your water bill is due, or things like those. So the systems are collaborating. So I'm very excited to see how does that pan out.
Right.
So it's very, very recent. And then, for example, even in hospitality, right, in the startup that I have, we have like a very small component, which also does the same thing. It kind of recommends what the person, or tries to understand the unique persona of every customer, and tries to recommend what they should be buying. For example, if you're traveling with a senior citizen, or if you're traveling with somebody, with a child who is like less than 5 years old. So actually, through a WhatsApp automated system, the system could ask you, hey, we see that the reservation is for 3 people. Are you traveling with the child? If the person clicks on the chiclet and says yes, then it will further drive them to say, oh, by the way, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, what's the age of a child, like 3 or 4 brackets. And if you say 0 to 3, would you like a room away from the elevator? So that it doesn't disturb, the children's sleep.
Okay.
So things like those. So I think virtual assistants are definitely, helpful in all the sectors. And I'm very, very excited to see how more and more governments, like one of the things that I think is most airlines, and whenever a person is traveling from one country to another, if they could just know which visas do they require if the visa is about to expire.
Right.
Like it's happened with me that I've landed on Dubai airport and realized my US visa is about to expire in 4 months. And then they said, no, cannot allow you the entry because you need a minimum of 6 months of validity. So in such cases, so I think anything that you would imagine an assistant doing and your life being easier. So, and I think probably Wasim or Florian, could you elaborate on some of the use cases you have come across in different verticals?
Of course. I remember when Siri was firstly implemented on the iPhone, and you felt like Tony Stark of Iron Man saying to Siri, wake me up at 6:30 in the morning. And if you take a look at the evolvement or the evolution of how we came from Siri and way before, putting in QR code on your old Nokia phone to do the boarding card check, go into the airplane. And now you can put, at Lufthansa for instance, I don't know if it works at Emirates, but I think so, it automatically checks you in with all your passport data and so on. You just tell them, I really would like to sit in front. If there's no place, I would like to sit at the easel at the window. And 24 hours when check-in opens, the app does it itself. So the evolution from my point of view is quite impressive. And using virtual assistants, I think there are a lot of processes in our regular life where we even don't recognize that it's done by a virtual assistant anymore. So if I'm telling now, Siri, please wake me up at 6:30, it's an automatism. And I don't even think about it that a virtual assistant is doing that. So it's completely part of our life. And if we take the AI component now furthermore in it, like ChatGPT, I personally use it for a lot of mail work I have to do as a CEO. You have to write with the government, you have to write with your new business partners, or you have to write with, I don't know, a lot of administrative things. And ChatGPT is giving you the opportunity to don't start by 0%, you can start by 50% and adapt the rest on your personal way. And I'm very curious about what this whole technology thing will help us in the future in regards to assist us in our everyday life, yeah. So, but it also has something to do with laziness, to be honest, because in the future you will stand in your house, it's still possible, and say, please switch the light that on and that on, turn that off, because I don't want to walk the next 10 meters to do it manually. So the laziness part I see too in regards to virtual assistants.
Or maybe we're just trying to do more with less, right? With lesser time. Yeah. How could we be using that time for more productively? I don't know, watching more Iron Man series or watching more Big Bang Theory. I mean, that's how I remember Siri, like the earlier seasons of Big Bang Theory. It was like super funny, but yeah. Wasim, any use cases that you have come across, perhaps?
I think there is many use cases we are using in daily basis, as he said. Florian, ChatGPT is one of them, which is really, it's impressive type of virtual assistant. It's actually type of conversational, something called conversational AI, which has been made by machine learning and also has been trained by massive data set to respond to users by human-like conversations. But there is some cases I would like to just mention. I have seen video maybe couple of months, then there is one who's using virtual assistant like Alexa in his home, and he make a juice, open the light, and like this, and he went to dentist. So when he went to dentist and came with the, he cannot speak well and the voice recognition is not working well. So there was raining and outside of the home, and he's trying to say, open the door, but the door was not opening. And the neighbors who has a key, and he opened the key and get inside the home. And he's still outside the home and they're raining to say, open the door, and they open the music inside or something. So that's because of the, maybe virtual assistants can maybe helping us, but there is some for sure limitations. There is some simplicity always is the best. This was the title of the video, but it was just,
That seems funny. One of the things I think I am definitely going to use virtual assistant for, and ChatGPT, and I've experimented with it, is anytime anybody asks me for a review, when I check out of a hotel, or like recently my nutritionist sent me, like, can you please recommend me out of the 20,000 things you have to do in a day? I think that's definitely what I'm going to use it for, and I've experimented with it. So for example, I tried in Open.ai, I tried to say, hey, respond back like a hotelier would do to a query. And it was like very prim and proper, polished language. And the second experiment I did was, respond back like a hostel owner. And the response actually began with a very funky, hey. So the ChatGPT actually spoke like a funky young person from a hotel to a hostel. So I thought that was interesting. So every time now anybody asks me for a review, that review is coming, and a very good one, written by ChatGPT.
Right. So we spoke about how the virtual assistants are getting convenience in our life, making us more lazier. And at the same time, some of the use cases like Wasim was talking about, is how it can add inconvenience also in my life. But Florian, what do you think? What kind of threats do you see for your business when these virtual assistants and ChatGPT and everything is coming in your way? Do you see any kind of threats for your business while we are using them so conveniently?
It depends, as we are doing so many different things in regards to economy sectors. The security consulting thing, for instance, is rapidly changing through AI. Because if you take a look 10 years ago, a company wants to acquire a consultant by giving the customer the knowledge of IT security, or giving them manuals, policy, templates, how to implement an ISP, information security policy, in a company. No company in the European Union, or especially in Germany, buys anymore a consultancy for that product. And big four companies, for instance, it was a long case, it was their business model by selling templates and then implement it on the customer. You could ask ChatGPT at the moment, deliver me an information security policy or draft for a banking company in Germany. And it will have, from the data of 2021, of course, but it will have all relevant regulations in form, and it will give you a template where you can start adapting it into your own company. So consultancies in regards to security, they will be bought in future more for their experience and not for their templates. So this will be a big change. But we can adapt it in our own consultancy processes from the first time on, because we are, normally when we go on a customer, we need some time to analyze assets, to analyze the structure, to get to know to the processes, to find ourselves a little bit more comfortable with the situation on the customer, and then we go four-wheel drive. With ChatGPT, we have an earlier stage where we can put in four-wheel drive, bringing the horsepowers on the street, on the customer, because we can come with more individual products directly from the beginning. And our key selling point is our experience. And we can bring our experience from an earlier stage on the customer. So their AI in general is helping us. But for much bigger companies, based on the old consultancy processes, for there currently it's a very hard time due to the disruptive thing in AI.
Yeah, that's the thing, because as an individual, for me also, if you ask, I get scared of sharing my data to anyone. Even when I have to make one online payment using my credit card, I'm scared that this might get stolen somewhere and somebody will get to know about my credit card details and they will use it. So I wanted to understand that what are the measures that we are taking to ensure the trust of people in AI or in virtual assistants, where they can use them with confidence. We keep on hearing these kind of stories about Alexa also, that when we are using Alexa in our bedroom, they are listening to our voice and our private discussions are getting out. So all these kind of things also make us very scared of using virtual assistants. So how do you think that we should be, as leaders in the industry, should be building that trust back of the customers?
Okay. This is a very interesting question, thank you. So yesterday we made already Web3 panel discussions, and we discussed already about the privacy and security in Web2. Until now, virtual assistants and AI working are running in Web2. So there is a different couples of concerns related to the security itself. Where is this data stored, how it's used, this is all of this we don't know until now. But I think to maintain or build the trust with the user, the virtual assistant company like Google or Amazon or something should maybe provide user transparency of this data, where this data should be stored, and also to announce or update the privacy policy or the consent to the user and give him to awareness about and ability to delete his data if he need. Actually, the AR is collecting, and it's work based on collecting massive data from us. This is his work. So this is a very, you can say, concern, big concern is here about the security. But maybe also if they encrypting the data to protect the information, the internet, that will be maybe better than nothing. So, but at the end, how to build the trust with this type of virtual assistant? We need to build the trust right now based on the usage. We are saving, as you said, our card in the payment gateway or any type of platform, or we are saving the password. Unfortunately, there are no us better than us. So this is informations we have to, as I said, to build transparency, maybe that platform or that company to build transparency with the user. And yeah, for example, ChatGPT, as we already discussed about it, it's already collected and all internet repository,
Yes.
the massive text, and already trained with our conversations, daily basis. And we heard about some cases in Samsung, the employees there and stuff, they are using ChatGPT to return and answer them about some informations during the company. But this company has already published in the internet
Right.
because already trained by ChatGPT and his answer another people of them. So this confidential information should not be sent, I think, by user to this type of platform.
Right. I think data is the new oil in this new age because everyone wants to have it for the sake of, because everything is moving towards AI and virtual assistants where everyone wants to use it, and data is something where these virtual assistants are getting built on. So just any one of you can answer and tell me that what is the future that you see with these virtual assistants, that we talk about the convenience or the inconvenience. We also spoke about the kind of trust we are trying to build. And we should be very, very particular or very aware of what kind of information I'm sharing with these virtual assistants so that my security is not breached. But what is the kind of future that you see for these virtual assistants coming in the market now?
I think, see, they're here to stay. There are security concerns with every new technology advancements, and then we figure out a way how to overcome them. Like we had banks, and then banks got robbed. We figured out a way how to beef up the security. Then we started doing virtual banking, and people found a way to hack it. So in India, there is something called like Paytm wallets and UPI.
Yeah.
And so with every new advancement, there are new challenges. You know, technology always has two aspects to it. It makes your life easier, and then there are new challenges that it presents. I don't know how many of you remember phone numbers? Like there was a time we knew at least 20 numbers on top of our head. Like barring my parents, I don't even know my brother's number. So technology makes things easier for you. At the same time, I mean, it takes away the unimportant tasks. Or, as they always say, right, there's a debate that does it make you dumber,
Right.
which is also true, or lazier. So with every new technology, there are definitely challenges, security and privacy and concerns. But I'm sure with its right checks and balances, we can figure out a way to overcome them. So for me, I think the virtual assistants, right, would become really, I don't know how many of you actually remember, there used to be a show, a sitcom long ago called Small Wonder, with like a robot called Vicky, which looked like human, behaved like human, and a robotics engineer had created it and kind of told everybody that's her daughter. And that it was like a very, very funny show. I think this is definitely 20, 25 years ago, so I am old, as you would know that by now. So I think for me, the future would, one day it truly would reach there, where there'll be a wiki, or maybe an assistant who could think what I want, right? That's what happens actually when through NLP, when these systems learn over a period of time, they can recommend. So imagine how powerful it becomes that it's lunchtime, you're in an area, you just finished a meeting, there's open time on your calendar, and the system automatically says, would you like to catch lunch? Your favorite restaurant is just 500 meters away. And things like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely here to stay.
Sometimes it is adding convenience, but at the same time, it brings a
intrusive.
kind of fear also that, okay, this assistant knows even that I'm hungry and which restaurant I should go for.
Yeah, it's just asking you. It's not forcing you, it's asking you. If you say no, the system would die down there. So I think it's the same challenge, even when you have a human assistant, right? It's how much information do you expose to them?
Yes.
Correct? Do you tell them your bank passwords? Do you make them do transactions for you? So use them for what you want to use them and only expose them, like you do not take them home with you.
Right.
Some of them might, I do not know, but you don't you usually just expose them information that you want them to, or whatever function that you want them to fulfill.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I get your point that some of it is just like sometimes it's collecting information that we don't even know it is.
Yes.
But I think, as Wasim said, with openness and transparency, we'd know what to click no to and
Yeah, but
how
we
to
don't
set our
get
settings.
this option. That is the main issue, that whenever we are online and I'm trying to buy something, do I have the option to say that I don't want to share my data with this particular website?
No, you're right. But there are things you could do, right? Like unless you're like making a purchase, in which this case they need your data, you could put VPNs, you could clear your cookies, you could go to incognito mode.
Yes.
So there
I
are
have
always
to
checks
smart
and
enough. I have to be smart enough.
So there are checks and balances, and I think when the entire ecosystem evolves, we'd know the checks and balances on what to click no to.
Nice.
Anything to add, gentlemen?
Yeah, well, coming to the question in regards to data security. So from our point of view, there is no alternative. Every time we think about evolutionary processes of technique in the future, we also have to think about the security processes.
Yes.
Every data obtainer in the world has to have a basic rule set how he handles with sensitive data. We will need it. Because if we would say, all right, we just think about using data in the virtual room without rules, then we wouldn't need police officers in the real world. So this is the same methodology. That's the reason why we need basic rules. If you obtain sensitive data from your customer, that he can use the application or anything else, you should at least have, I don't know, something about cryptography, multi-factor authentication, and so on and so on and so on. So this should be the basic set. And by having this in mind, I think then the customer can decide on its own how much of my sensitive personal data I'm going to give to the application, because in the end it's something of the application, and there's some server, some cloud in the end owning or having my data. It doesn't matter if it's Siri, Alexa, or something else. So this is the IT process in the background. And with this minimum set, basic rules of set, we have a minimum trust. And then the next point from our point of view is the thing transparency. So basic rule set, transparency. If I want to know what Amazon, and it's working, but it's very complicated to get to the data, this is the problem. And it's possible to get to know what are they having data, Alexa is very often listening to you even without the
buzzword.
Yeah, even without you said something,
yes.
Do this, do that. And you can ask Amazon to send you the MP3 files. You can obtain it in your Amazon account, but it's so complicated to get it. And this should be more transparent, and it should be easier to get the information which big data company is having which information of me personal. And this two-step would lead to more trustworthiness in the whole sector, and I think is crucial for the evolution in the next years, especially with the AI component in it.
Right. Very well said that the solution for this trust breach is the transparency. The more transparency which we bring, we can more trust the products that we are using on Virtual Assistant. Thank you, guys. Now the floor is open for the audience. If you have any questions for the panelists, you can ask. No question?
Everybody needs a virtual assistant to ask questions.
No questions? Yeah, there is a question with the gentleman in the corner. Anyone can give the mic to him, please?
But it's also very hard to see the hands in the back because of the light, so.
Good morning, everyone. It's working. It's working. Morning, everyone. I'm Tosin. I'm based in Muscat, Oman. A lot of conversations go everywhere about these virtual assistants, and we've seen a lot of implementations. But I think one area we really address is how this applies in the enterprise. I know we see it in customer service, we see it in the CRM, but I think that's just still stepping at the periphery of the matter. So it would be nice to hear from the panelists a real-world enterprise implementation of these virtual assistants, because actually yes, for the man on the streets, my data is everywhere, but hey, you buy on Amazon, you drop your ID with the government, so your data is already everywhere, whether you like it or not. But in the real sense of it, with the $1 billion in these virtual assistants, how can we find it in the enterprise? Thank you.
I can answer your questions here. Actually, there is a lot of use cases in the other world. It's already implemented for the virtual assistant, enterprise level exactly. So some of them, it's a conversational AI. As I said, chatbot, it's an old-fashioned, we can say, from the virtual assistant, which is being used in the e-commerce and customer service. Right now, there is a conversational AI which is being trained and powered by machine learning and something called natural language processing, NLP, beside also the data mining, and can be trained and to convert human conversations and reply to the customers or user during the shopping in the site or something, and also asking his any issues or troubleshooting inside this journey. So there is also other type of, or other example of it, it's using in also in the healthcare, and maybe Florian can tell us about that also. Also with HR processing, and also there is a lot of workflow inside the system or organization has been also different applications has been made integrated with this type of conversational AI. It's algorithms, and you can implement it and develop it to be used everywhere. It's not just in the smartphone. This is the one type of them.
Another example that I've seen being used, there are a couple of tools which can connect to your BI tools, and you can ask it in very simple language, hey, are my sales up, or what is my sales trend in for this month? When was the sales spike? So everything that you need answers to, like say for there is a QBR or there's a review meeting, you can literally get this with under 2 minutes just by asking those questions. You don't actually have to look into multiple data. So if you connect your virtual assistant to your system of records or to your system of function, it can collaborate and give you that data within minutes. That reduces a lot of time. I mean, that is one of the applications that I've seen it being used for.
Yes, there's one more question from them.
Good morning, everybody. So before I get to the question, there was talk yesterday also about conversational AI and the usage of NLP in training conversational AI. And 80% of the people nowadays are comfortable dealing with chatbots and conversational AI, but I belong to the 20% from the Jurassic age who would rather talk to a person to get my problem resolved. So what does the panel think about the industry should do to cater to people who are actually still comfortable talking to people than a chatbot? And I'll give you a real-life example, a use case. I've been in touch with 2 particular airlines who canceled their flights, and it's been almost 4 months since I got my refunds back. And it's still in progress, and every time I go onto their website, there's nobody to talk to, it's just a chatbot. And a chatbot has not been able to resolve my problem, which is obvious that their NLP in training the chatbots is not working.
No, absolutely. I think just like most tools, you need to know how to structure it well. And I think that is where we fail. So when we want to purchase something, right, maybe a bot is fine because we want to explore things, see how they look, read the reviews. But when you're talking about customer service, beyond like few use cases that it can take care of, I think it should automatically switch to a human. So there are tools today which give you an option. Is your question standard, or would you like to talk to a live agent? Like there are 2 options. And if you click live agent, it just routes you to a live agent. Absolutely. So they're still learning. I think the problem with the industry, or all of us, right? It's still, this ecosystem is still evolving. People are still trying to figure out. And I can imagine it can be very, very frustrating, especially when you're talking about customer care. I mean, remember those old days of IVR when you would call up a bank for something, and then the IVR would kick in, and just it was annoying, right? It took away at least 1.5 minutes of idle conversation. Some banks still continue to do that, and some of them, like American Express, Citibank, Standard Chartered, have figured out a better way to route their IVRs where you can reach a human within the first 30 seconds. You know, press 9, press 0, it'll give you an option too. So I think the ecosystem is still learning. It's all about structuring it well. Just deploying a virtual assistant doesn't solve the problem. It's also like similar to the problem that if you have an assistant and if she's the one who's, you know, kind of fielding your calls, there's a point she has to hand it over to you. And she needs to know that point. It's all about defining that and knowing that ourselves. So I completely get it. I think with the evolution of with us all understanding it with the ecosystem building, I think this will improve tremendously.
But maybe putting another perspective of that problem, because I'm 100% your opinion. If I have a problem with a company and I need the service agency of the company, and they are responding with a chatbot, and my problem isn't solved day by day, and I don't get any person on the phone on the other side, I'm getting very curious and I'm getting very angry, because in the end my problem is not solved. What we have to take a look at, if we see the last 20 to 25 years IT evolution, we used IT things and some processes for a couple of years and then recognize, oh, it's not working. And we have to take into considerations that in future there may be processes where we cut off virtual assistants because we recognize that it's not working. Because in the end, what happens if an airline treats you as a customer like that, next time you're flying with a new flight and you want to book, maybe you think that you're using a different airline where you don't have this bad experience. And this, we have to see that evolution, even in IT processes, sometimes means that we have to cut off or go a different way. We maybe walked the last 5 years or the last 10 years. So chatbot, of course, was something where we said, all right, very helpful for the company itself, but in some customer relationship processes, totally unuseful, because 50% of our customers are angry because they are writing with a chatbot and not with a person. So we have to adjust our process. And this is what we have to keep in mind in the future, that virtual assistants, of course, will help us, but maybe won't help us in regards to people business.
And also, with the evolution of time, right, one of the things that is actually easier with a virtual assistant, so when you know people are dropping off at a particular point, or with the conversation, it's easy to train the system. But imagine, I'm sure you've had multiple experiences with a customer support representative who just doesn't get you. And when you make the call again, same person, like another person, same problem, and he'll resolve it within minutes, right? Those trends are very difficult for companies to identify, because you don't know where they're dropping off. So when a virtual assistant is incomprehensive or not solving your problem, the companies, if they put focus to it, they can identify it much quicker, train the system much quicker, and it's uniform. When you have a customer support team, which is 100 people, and then there are 15 people who just don't get it, it's very hard to identify at what point do they not get it and to train them. So there are certain use cases for which this definitely would be super helpful, just to bring uniformity of service.
I agree to that, because I work into the customer experience department itself, and this is one thing that I always challenge on, that I don't have to deviate from my objective. Objective of getting virtual assistants is, first objective is to bring more convenience or more efficiency in the system. So it is very convenient for you when you are booking a flight, not calling an agent, but booking it directly by self-service. So you are happy with that virtual assistant. But you are not happy when your flight gets cancelled or you need a refund. So as a leader who is deciding that when should I use this virtual assistant and when I should not use it, is with us. We don't have to deviate from our final objective. We don't realize that when this final objective of customer delight shift to cost saving. Because when I see that when I'm using a lot of virtual assistants, my customer service agents are not needed, so I'm saving cost on giving the salary to these people. And it is, in place of bringing that convenience to my customer, I'm bringing that convenience in my life first. So my objective deviates, and as soon as my objective deviates, I will see that my customers are unhappy. So this is the only solution, as Tej was also saying, that it is very important to use the virtual assistants, because we will, by data, we will clearly know that from where I'm not able to answer the customer question. And with a agent, it might be very difficult. I might have to sit with that agent and understand that why you did not solve the customer problem here. But with bots, I clearly know that why bot has not solved the problem, and accordingly I can fix it.
And it might take you months to identify even the problem,
Exactly.
right? Just to identify, not to fix it. With a
Right.
bot, at least you know if 1,000,000 transactions failed at this point.
Yes,
I have to
from
train the
there I
system.
need to action.
Or transit it to a person.
Right.
I think I would just to add something here technically. Chatbot is the old-fashioned, as we said, from virtual assistant, which is already developed by particular particular questions or particular answers. So you have to ask him specifically, what do you want, so he can answer you. This is different than the conversational AI, which is the new technology, which we are talking about it right now from virtual assistant, which has been already trained or powered by NLP, and as I said, we with machine learning to engaging with the customer or with the user inside this chat by text-based or maybe sometimes by voice recognitions to answer your response or request without any feeling this is not real customer service. And will give you your answer, can check your tickets, or for example, inside in the flights, and can maybe, or hotels, or can do any other operations, because it's already developed and connected to the database of the system. It will be using as a human being. It's like this. So,
Yeah. Any other questions that we have? We are already almost done with the time. Thank you guys, thank you panel
Yeah.
for the discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a lovely audience.